Hello and welcome to part 9 of how to make a file manager application. So we will continue to add features and improve our file manager app. I am running it now in order for us to see what is missing, what we want to change, and so on. So the first thing we see when we start the app is the download folder, which we are using as the entry point for our application. The first button we see is the B, which means go back, which allows us to go back to our previous folder, to the parent element. We can also reload and create a new folder. For example, here we'll create a folder we will be calling folder 1, for example. Okay, great. Now we have here folder 1. If we click on it, we open the folder, which is great. Now we want to keep adding more features to our file manager. We want to be able to rename files, so when we long click one item, so we found a bug. So when we long click an item, we want it to show some options for us to perform. So we will run it again, and we will see what happens when we long click something, and it says file manager keeps stopping, and here we will find the error that is causing just that. So here's the error, which is attempt to get length of a null array, the null pointer exception. Okay, so right now, in order for us to fix this problem, we have to make sure we are not accessing a null object. In this case, the error is here in line 180 in my case. So files is the one that we don't have the length, because files is null right now. Okay, so why files is null? That's a good question. And if we see files right here, we see that we are initializing to dir list files. Okay, so what we should do here instead is to allocate files memory. For that we go files, new. So files is a file array, so we're going to create a file array, and the size of the array will be dir list files list and maybe length. Is that correct? List length or just list files? Okay. I think we will use list files and then length. Okay, so list files and then we use length. Now we will run the app again and see if everything works fine. So we are just finding ways in which we improve our application. We are doing it on the go. So if we long click this now, the app keeps crashing. So what's the problem? Maybe we have a different problem, maybe we have the same problem. Let's see right here what's the problem. Okay, so if we go to our logcat and see, again we say we have a null array. So the dir list files is actually a null array. Oh, okay, so we did this incorrectly. The dir, the directory, is a null array. So the first thing we have to do is to make sure we don't have a null array, because directory is the directory is set to current path. Okay, like right here in line 156, as you can see. And then files right here is set to dir that list files. Okay, but when we go down here where we call the refresh button, in this line, when you say their list files, we don't have the directory is not being updated correctly. Okay, so what can we do to fix the problem? First, we have to understand that their file, we have to check if there is null. So if there equals null, we will return. So we are kind of debugging right now to see, we are running the app again, and we see if we long click this, it still crashes. So what's going on here? Logcat, we'll fix it right now. So let's see. Again, we still have the same thing, and it says this is a null array. So actually files is what we have to test. Actually, they're that list files actually. But we can do this more efficiently by checking just files later. So after here we will say if files, okay, if files is null, we will return. Okay, and we run the app and we check that everything works fine. Okay, we long click on something and at least it doesn't crash, which is great. Okay, so later we will figure out everything we need to do. For now we will try to clean a bit the code, so we can expand the imports to see what we're using. And here on the onCreate method, which is the first method that it's called, we are setting the content view. Okay, so after this we will move the onPause method up there, because that's the next method that it's called. So we are kind of making everything look better, and otherwise it will be a kind of mess, and we don't want that. So we go and move the whole onResume method, which is kind of big right now, as you can see. Okay, and we will move that method just after the onCreate method. So it will be the second method that we have on our source file. In this way we can see more clearly what's going on with our application. Okay, so first you can see that we set the content view to r.layout.layout1. Next we go in the onResume method and we actually check if we have to request permissions, okay, which is already done and works great. Now here we check if the file manager is initialized or not. Now as you can see, this is a variable, so we will go to where the variables are defined outside the resume method, and we will also move them. So here are some variables. These are permission variables, so we will ignore them for now. And we will move the rest of the variables that we can find right here. Okay, so we move these to the top just before the onResume method. So in this way we will use the variables or define the variables just before they are used. Okay, so the first thing we do is we check if the file manager is initialized. So a private boolean as a global variable doesn't need to be initialized to false because it's false by default. So Java automatically initializes it. Okay, so now current path. The current path, we are setting the current path to downloads, and the root path, we're setting it to, the root. Okay, so right now the directory is a file. Okay, the directory is a file that is defined by the current path, and files is a file array in which the current files are stored, the files that are shown on the screen. Okay, we have the path output, which shows the path, and this is okay. So if we go back to the app right here, when I long click this, the path output was set to a file name, which we don't want that, right? So we will find the piece of text, the piece of code that is doing this. To do that, we're going to press Ctrl F to find, and we will type path output dot set text. Okay, so this is the first occurrence, and in this case it finds 3 matches. Okay, so the first one is when we initialize this, which is okay, because that's a must. The second one is when we go back. Okay, so the second one is when we go back, and this is also not the case because we are not using the go back button. And the third case is when we do an on item click listener. So here, in order to fix this, we have, we are mixing these two element or method calls right here. So we have to fix this problem first. The problem is when we long click, this method is called, which is correct, but also the on item clicked is called, which we don't want to happen. So we want to know when these should be called. To do that, we will implement a kind of easy fix right here, and we will create a boolean flag. Okay, so we go and say private boolean is long click. Okay, so we create that boolean flag, and we go to our list view on item click listener and on long click listener, and in the on long click listener we will go and say is long click will be set to true. Okay, and we want to of course set that to false, but not immediately, so we have to do it slightly later. How do we do that? We create a handler. So we go and type new handler dot post delayed, which means run this a little bit delayed. Okay, we will of course end the line with semicolon, and inside here we will type new runnable. Okay, tomato, so we call it. So new runnable, and inside these we go and say, maybe the ID generates these for you, but if not, then you're gonna type at override and public void run. Okay, method, so we call it, and inside this run method we should execute what we want, and after this runnable parameter, we have to pass the parameter so to delay in milliseconds, as you can see right there. So we will delay these maybe 500 milliseconds, okay, or something like that. We're just testing, okay. And what we will do here is that we flip the flag right here. So we'll say is long click will be set to false, okay, which is cool. So why did we do that? Why do we do this? Okay, so right here on the on item click listener, we have to check for the flag to see if the flag is set. Okay, but we want to do all of that in a delayed fashion. This means we have to create a new handler again. So you're gonna say new handler that post delayed, again new runnable, and this time the IDE auto generated this for us, and these will check if the, so you have to put a delay right here, maybe 200 milliseconds or whatever, and here it will check if the flag is set. So we're gonna say if is long click. So if is long click, then what we will do is actually return. If it's long click, we will return, or we will not really return. So if is long click is false, okay, so if the flag is not set, we will paste this code right here. So position here, it's underlined because we have to make it final, because we are using the runnable class. So go and type final position in the parameter, and as you can see, the warning is gone. So what is this doing? So what this will do is that it will wait 200 milliseconds to see if long click is or not called. So we will see if that delay works or not. Okay, so how do we do it? Well, we will, of course, we have to use an extra check right here, because if you notice, these 4 lines are just okay in the case of a directory. Okay, so we have to check if the current file is a directory in order to run this. Okay, so we're going to say if files at position is directory, and we will of course run this, because as you can see, we are referring it only to directories right now. And now we will run the application and see if everything went fine. So if we just single click on anything that it's not a directory, nothing happens, okay, which is great. But if we click on a directory, like this folder 1 right here, folder 1 is opened, which is also great. Now if we long click in folder 1, it's also opened if we long click long enough. So this is where the delays we are talking about comes in place. We have to have a delay that matches the user interaction. Okay, so if long click is there, we have to unset the long click after a larger period of time. So instead of 500 right down here, we will put 2000, for example, and we will run the app again and check if this works or not. Okay, so if we long click folder, nothing happens, as you can see. Only when we do a single click, the folder is opened. But if we long click, it is just selected. Well, this time is also opened. So what can we do different here? Okay, so here we can maybe check again. And long click. And it's being opened, which is not cool. Okay, just to make sure, we will run the app again in order to know if we are not messing with flags. So we long click on folder, it just selected. We long click again, and it opens. So something is wrong with the flags right here. Okay, the flags are not okay. So how do we fix this? Okay, 200 milliseconds. Maybe you have to increase this to maybe 500 milliseconds. That would be kind of better. Okay, and is long click is as default false, so it's not set. But when we long click an item, it is set to true. So this should be called. Okay, let's go and see. Folder 1, long click. It's just select, long click again. It's unselected, long click again. It's selected and goes in. So we still have a bug here. Long click, selected, and in. So the first time works fine, but then it's not working fine. Why? Well, because we are setting maybe this thing to a small delay here. Maybe 1000 would be better. Oh, I know what's going on here. Okay, let's run and see if this works. Okay, long click on folder right now. Selected, long click, long click, long click, long click, long click. And now it's kind of working as we expect. So we can leave it as it is right now because it's working great. If we do single click, then it opens and we have a crash. So it's actually good having crashes because we can fix those problems. So right now it's an array index out of bounds exception. Okay, we go and identify this right now. So when long click, the position is 9 and the length is actually 0. Why is this a problem? Well, actually because of the delay we're having right here. So here, if position is greater than files that length, we have to return. Okay, so check if position is greater than files that length, we will just return right here. Okay, let's see what it works now. Okay, we'll long click on folder, long click again, long click again, long click again. Everything works fine, but it's still not working that well. It has still some errors, so we can improve this by changing the delays we are using here. For example, the long click, we will test how fast the long click is called. Okay, so we will go this down to 100 milliseconds and this down here to 1000 milliseconds and see if it still works. If it still works, then better for us. If not, we have to find a different one. So long click works, long click works, long click works, long click works, long click works. Now it's even more stable than previously, but still not that stable. So to make this more stable, we have to decrease these right here. Okay, we have to decrease these right here to maybe 800 or 500, and we will extensively test in order for us to make sure everything works fine. So long click, and it's not working. Okay, long click, so problem is not there apparently. So we will leave these as 500 maybe, or maybe we'll increase it to 1000, but we will decrease these 100 milliseconds to maybe 50 milliseconds. Okay, let's now see if everything works. Folder, long click, long click, long click, long click, and it works as we want, which is awesome, right? Okay, so it's working great. Now if you go back, we have different folders. Here we can create a new folder inside music, for example, my music folder, and we press OK, and here we have my music folder. And if we go inside my music folder, we can create another folder. For example, my music folder 2. Okay, and if we go back, we'll be in music and out here. So we go music, my music folder. So I think we found another bug. Okay, back, music, my music folder, folder 2, back. No, I think it works fine actually. Yeah, it's working great. So we have done that, and we have now fixed a couple of bugs we were having. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I see you in the next one. Bye.